Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. For those of you that are new to the channel, my name's Dan and we're currently working on an ST150. If you like the content, please subscribe. If you are a subscriber already, then give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down and let me know what you think of the video. So today's video is kind of a part 2 from my last video, which was fitting the thermostat housing. So I've got the thermostat housing fixed and was hoping that was going to solve the problem, but it didn't. So what I done is got the thermostat housing changed, bled all of the system out, and then took the car for quite a long drive, sort of 10-15 minutes, just to make sure the car warmed up and to make sure like the temperature is reaching like the sort of mid-range on the dials. So on my gauge it actually starts at 60. So basically last night I took the car out for a drive. It was around about 10 to 15 minutes drive just to see how it warmed up, and the needle on the gauge really didn't move whatsoever. So I thought, all right, here we go, you know, the thermostat housing is still broken, or I've got a dud one. However, I've been speaking with FF04 ORD on YouTube and I've got him on Instagram as well, so do me a favour, give him a like on Instagram and also subscribe to his channel. I'll link it down below in the description. So yeah, I was speaking with him and just said to him, look, when your car is cold and not being switched on for a day or two, what does your temperature gauge read? And it actually starts off at 60, whereas what I do is I'll show you in a minute in the car. On mine it actually starts way before the 60, so it looks like the dial's out. And another thing that I noticed as well, what I'd done was the test sweep, so you can hold the like the controller in on the stalk, and then you start the car up and then it runs a test. So it'll do a gauge sweep, then it shows you all the LEDs, make sure they're all lit up, and then it goes through fault codes and a load of random sort of things. What that actually done was with the gauges, it swept all the gauges, so I knew they're all working, but what it's done is now the rev counter is stuck around at 9,000 or just more, and you can actually see the gauge that I've got for the like the water temperature starts way before. So I think that's going to be the problem. So what I'm going to do today is try and get the instrument cluster out, and I'll show you how to do that and see if we can fix it. Oh, also as well, down there I've got a new battery tray, and I finally bought a new battery for the car, so I can just get the engine bay tidied up a little bit more. Anyway, let's crack on with it. Right, for those of you that have not seen, so basically this is the battery I've got, and as you can read there, it's a Mercedes battery, and obviously that's not the right battery for the car. Also you can see that what the guy's done before is had to cut the battery tray to accommodate it, and because it's a bigger battery, this battery strap doesn't fit down onto the bolt here. So I'm going to get this swapped over first, and then we'll go look at the instrument cluster in the car. Right, so the light's not brilliant, but all you've got to do is you've got a 10mm bolt here, undo the 10mm bolts on the battery terminals, and then basically lift the battery out. That's easy. So in here you've got 13mm bolts that you need to undo, standard Ford. Feels like this one's going to snap. Lovely. Nothing's ever simple, is it? What are we saying? Snap. Right, that's good. What do you reckon? Snap. It's close to snapping. Right, so here's the fresh new one. It's obviously not been cut. Looks half decent. Right, in order to stop this one snapping, I'm going to cover it in some copper grease. Hopefully it stops it. I mean, that's far too much, but who cares? That should stop it from season in there anyway. And this one as well. This is where I find out the new battery I bought don't fit as well. That's not going nowhere. Right, so fingers crossed the new one fits. Looks good to me. Like a glove. Right, then all we've got to do is connect it back up. I hate this bit. This bit always makes me jump. Right, now we should be able to put this on. Should fit nicely. There you go. Couldn't find one, so yeah, that's the 10mm. And a washer. Beautiful. Solid as a rock, that is. Right, that's that done. Now let's see if we can get the instrument cluster out. Right, so annoyingly the light is fading pretty fast, so there's two Torx bolts under here that you need to find. I think there's one here and then one on the other side, and then what that does is releases this little trim piece here, and then it gives you access to this to come off, and then there's two bolts, one this side, and this should pull out. So I'll try and film it, if not I'll show you. Right, so just for reference, what I'm saying is here is, look, the temperature gauge starts all the way back here, and it should start on the 60 from what I believe. So mine goes from there, and obviously it can't go any further. I don't know if you can see, but it's sort of touching the side of the plastic there, if it was to focus. Yeah, so mine's sort of touching the plastic bit here, so it can't go any further around. So I think if I get that lined up to the 60, that moves currently from there to just past the 60, so it should reach round about here, which is midway, which I think is correct. For some reason this has gone back down to 0 now, which is good. I've just taken the battery off, so I think that's now reset that one, but obviously it hasn't reset this one. I think that really needs to be either pushed there or just buy a new cluster, but that's what it looks like. I'll see if we can get it out. Ugh. Right, well that was loads of fun. So basically, the two screws under here you don't have to undo, I don't think. The bit up there just pops off, and then what you need to do is, where is it? There's basically two little screws. You have to take this plastic trim off there, there's a screw just down there, and then you pop this bit of trim off, and there is a screw just sort of, I can't really show you, but in the centre of the screen there's a screw there, and then that pops off the plastic bit that sits up here. So once that bit there that covers like the speedo, which stops you from getting out. So if you notice, what I've done is I've undone the screw there, which was actually missing. Sorry, this side was missing the screw right there, and then this side undid that screw. As I undone it, the glass fell off. Yeah, so all I've had to do there is I basically move it with my finger and start it on the 60-degree mark. So I'm going to start the car up now and see if that works, and see if that is going to cost me next to nothing to get fixed. Right, so I got the dials out, and I quickly realised that I'm not an electrician, so I don't know what I'm doing. What I did do was take this board out just to check the connections at the back. So that's the fuel gauge one there, as you can see. So I just checked this one, and you couldn't really see anything, to be honest, because that's a sealed unit. I can get to it, but I'll probably end up breaking it. So all I've done is cleaned up the dials. I've put them back. I did notice, however, that this one, when you switch the car off and then back on again, the dial will sort of creep back below the 60. So I think this is actually done for. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to replace the glass, because as you can see the glass wasn't there. Well, the glass is there, but it basically fell off as soon as I took out the unit. So that enabled me to push this back, and it actually does go up to 100, and well, it goes to that middle marker there, wherever that middle marker is there, that's where it reaches, which is, I think, correct. So what I'm going to do is plug this back in, drive it around for a little bit, see how it sort of performs. If it keeps dropping back below 60, then obviously it's done for, and I'll just buy myself a used unit and hope that that's a little bit better than this one. Right, so I thought I'd come back out during the day to show you what's actually happened. So at the minute there's no glass on the screen here, and you can see there the gauge. I can quite easily move my finger, move it up to the 60. So what I've noticed is that all the cars, mine was basically starting all the way over here, sort of round about there. So mine was starting to there, and it was warming up, and it was getting to around about the 60 degrees here. So what I've done is I've moved it to the 60, thinking this would obviously solve the problem. It did actually solve the problem for the revs as well, so that actually now sticks at 0 after the battery is reset. However, what I noticed is that on this gauge here, where it's set at 60, the car would warm up and go to here, which is probably what, 100 maybe, sort of, well, maybe not, maybe sort of 90 degrees around about there. And what I was noticing is when you switch the car off, this gauge would then drop back just past the 60 a little bit, then you turn it back on, it would come up, and then it would go just a bit further back, and so on and so forth. So it just makes it, it's basically going to work its way back to here. So I don't think there's any way I can actually fix these gauges. So what I've done for the time being is I've left the glass off. I'm going to sort of put everything back together. I mean, it could do with a clean down here, but I'm not going to do that today. I'll do that when I get the new gauges. Yeah, I'm going to order a new, well, I'm going to order like a U set. The only thing is I don't know if the mileage is going to affect get affected. I don't know if the mileage is stored on this unit here or on the ECU, because there's a little pin connector sort of around here at the back, and I'm hoping it shouldn't affect the miles, but it probably does. So we'll have to wait and see. I'll see if I can get one that's close to them miles, but I'll keep this one, and obviously when I sell the car, or if I ever do sell the car, then I will just obviously say to them, look, this is the original, there's the mileage on there, so it all sort of correlates to each other. So yeah, I'm basically going to put all that back together now. A bit annoying really, because I was hoping that would be a fix, but for now I suppose what I can do is get in the car, set it to 60, and obviously when I warm the car up and I start driving, as long as I can see now what the temperature is, if it keeps dropping back, at least I can sort of, you know, sort of touch it for the time being just to get it right. But yeah, obviously that's unfortunate that I can't solve that problem myself, but you can see down there there's a tab there, and there's a tab just down here with screws. I've only got one screw in there, there was no screws in this one. I think I caught that in a video last night, but it was quite dark, and I'll sort of show you to sort of how it all comes together and how it all goes back together, and then we'll go from there. Right, so this is the first bit. So this is like the cowling that kind of like goes in here, sort of stops the gauges from coming forward and sort of just covers it all up and neatens it up. And what happens with this is there's no tabs on the front bit there, so there's no tabs here. You've just got that tab with a screw hole, that tab with a screw hole, and they kind of sit just behind here. So you can see there's a screw hole there. You have to kind of pull this bit down. You have to undo the screw for this compartment, and then there's another little tab, you can see it just there. So you put the two screws, you sort of clip it all in, put them two screws in, put the screw back in there, and then that sort of does that bit, and then I'll show you the next bit. Right, so I've got this part back on now, so that's in secured. So I've just popped this bit of plastic back in and done this screw up. And then what you need to do is, if you pull this little drawer down, there's two little screws up here. You take them down, this sort of unit comes away a little bit, and then you can just get access to this one here, just so you know. And then last but not least, all you need to do is put this crusty thing back on. I don't know if I'll be able to do it one-handed, but basically you can't really go wrong. You basically put the rubber bit there, gets tucked underneath there, and then it sort of clips back over. You can see there, look, where the stalks go there, and they just clip over your indicators and your wiper stalks here. So I'll do that. I can't do it on camera, but it's pretty self-explanatory. Right, so yeah, that bit's now back in. As you can see, it all clicks down nicely, and then all you need to do is, you've got, like I said, underneath here, so this one here and this one here is a Torx 20, and all you got to do is undo these, which helps release this bit here. That bit comes off, and then, like I say, you've got the access to the two screws for this piece. You pull that out. The only thing you need to do as well is, when you put the steering wheel back, is if you raise it all the way down, you get this stupid rubber bit in here, which you can't really see that well, but it's got like some clips that just need to get all pushed into there. Set your steering wheel to whatever height you want. I'm a midget, so it basically goes there, and then lock it in place. Wallop. So a bit annoying that I changed the thermostat housing for no reason. I suppose it was good in a way, because I got to flush out all the coolant, which you can see in the previous video. It was pretty rusty and pretty dirty, to be honest, so it's nice to sort of flush that out and get that all changed. Having a new thermostat housing in the car is not going to hurt at all. It was only about 30-40 quid, so it hasn't really broken the bank. I'll have to go and search the bin as well, annoyingly, and then yeah, get that out, and that's got that as a spare. And then I really need to start on that thing as well. Look, I've still got the old seats, I need to give them back to my mate as well, get this garage cleared out, and then we can start working on the Focus. Right, so apologies if the video was a bit all over the place, but obviously I was filming at night time, it was a bit dark, I couldn't really see what I was doing, and then I decided to sort of leave it there, see what happens overnight, have a look online just to see what items I could find. So I have found a used set of Speedos. They're £50, but obviously I think they're going to have different mileage, so I just need to work out what's going to happen with that. Hopefully it should just pick it up from the ECU, but I'm not too sure on this car, so I'm just going to find that one out. But like you can see in the last few clips, what I've done is I've removed the glass, which I've actually got here, so that's the glass for it, which actually just fell off. So I'm not going to bother replacing that. What I'm going to do is just leave it, and then I'll just keep an eye on the gauge. If for whatever reason it fixes itself, then brilliant. Then I'll just attach that with some sealant, give it a little clean up, and then that should be it. If not, it looks like I'm spending 50 quid and getting a used set. Also very trampy, but I went back in the bin and I basically got the old thermostat out, because obviously that didn't have a problem in the first place, but you can see there, it is a little bit gunky. It probably won't focus properly because this camera's poo. But yeah, basically that's the thermostat housing. So you can see it's pretty grubby, and there's a bit of crusty water and stuff all around the edges there. And I think the gaskets seen better days. That's why it basically looks like that. So yeah, I'm glad I changed it, but I'll keep that one anyway, obviously just as a spare. Right, so there's still a few things to look at on the Fiesta. Well, to be fair, there's probably about 1,000 things to look at on the Fiesta. Every time I take a screw off, I find like a new problem. Obviously, you see in the video I've snapped the bolt as well for the battery tray, but it's quite solid, it's not going anywhere, so I'm probably just going to leave that. I'm not really too bothered about a bolt in the battery tray. So I have actually started filming the spraying of the bumpers. I'm doing them all sort of a gloss black. So obviously that'll be out in the next couple of weeks, hopefully. And the next sort of big issue, or the big problem, is the exhaust on the car. So it sounds like it's got a blow come from somewhere. Now, I am going to attempt to have a look at it. I am going to attempt to fix it myself. However, I had a quick look underneath it and it looks like a bit of a Frankenstein of an exhaust. You've got the catalytic converter, and then there's like a mid-section that seems to be put in there with sort of some horrible clamps, and then on the end of it I think there's like another back box that's been added onto it. So I'm probably looking to get the full system put onto the car, but I'm not going to do that myself. I'm just going to pay someone else to do it because I just haven't got the time or the patience, and the way things have been going, I'll probably end up snapping some sort of bolt anyway. So anyway, I've waffled on enough. If you're not subscribed to the channel and you like the content, please click up here, and if you want to watch my last video, you can also click up here. Anyway, I'll catch you in the next one.